Boston, 1919. A city teeming with life and energy, where the past met the future in a dance of progress and ambition. A city on the move, a hub of industry. Factories belched smoke into the sky, and the streets were alive with the hustle and bustle of commerce. The Industrial Revolution had firmly taken root here, transforming Boston into a powerhouse of production and innovation. People rushed through cobblestone streets, their sights on a brighter future. Men in suits and hats, women in long dresses, children playing in the alleys. Each person carried with them dreams of prosperity and success, fueled by the promise of a new era. The air hummed with the sounds of progress, clanging trolleys, ship horns, the rhythmic hammering from the docks. The city was a symphony of activity, each sound a note in the grand composition of urban life. The docks were particularly busy, with ships arriving and departing, carrying goods from all corners of the world. But on the horizon, a different sound brewed, a sound that would soon disrupt the harmony of this bustling city. The sky, usually filled with the promise of a new day, now seemed to hold a foreboding presence. A low rumble from a giant tank filled with 1 million gallons of molasses. This tank, a towering structure, was a symbol of industrial might and the sweet promise of prosperity. It stood as a testament to human ingenuity and ambition, a silent sentinel to a city unaware of the danger lurking within. The people of Boston went about their daily lives, oblivious to the potential catastrophe that loomed over them. The tank was a familiar sight, yet its true nature was a mystery to most. The tank, owned by the United States Industrial Alcohol Company, stood tall and imposing. It was a marvel of engineering, designed to hold vast quantities of molasses for the production of industrial alcohol. The company had placed great trust in this structure, believing it to be a cornerstone of their operations. It held the promise of sweetness, of rum for thirsty throats, of industrial might. The molasses stored within was destined to be transformed into rum, a product that would bring joy and warmth to many. It was also a key ingredient in various industrial processes, making it a valuable commodity. Little did anyone know, this sweet promise would soon turn into a bitter tragedy. The tank, which had stood as a symbol of progress, would soon become a harbinger of disaster. The events that were about to unfold would leave an indelible mark on the city and its people, a reminder of the fragile balance between human ambition and the forces of nature. The molasses tank was a marvel of engineering, at least for its time. Standing tall and proud, it was a symbol of industrial progress and human ingenuity. Constructed with the latest technology of the early 20th century, it was designed to store vast quantities of molasses, a key ingredient in many foods and beverages. Towering over the neighborhood, it held enough molasses to sweeten an entire city. The tank was an imposing structure, visible from miles away, and it quickly became a landmark in the area. Residents would often use it as a point of reference when giving directions, and it was a common sight in the daily lives of those who lived nearby. People passed by it every day. Children played in its shadow, oblivious to the potential danger lurking within. The tank was a part of the community, and its presence was taken for granted. Children would often gather around it, playing games and chasing each other, their laughter echoing off its metal walls. Little did they know that beneath its seemingly benign exterior, a disaster was waiting to unfold. The sweet, pungent aroma of molasses often wafted from its vents, a familiar scent in the neighborhood. This scent became synonymous with the area, a constant reminder of the tank's presence. On warm days, the smell would be particularly strong, mingling with the other scents of the city and creating a unique olfactory experience for the residents. It was a time when people trusted in progress, unaware of the potential consequences of unchecked industrial might. The early 20th century was an era of rapid industrialization, and the molasses tank was just one of many symbols of this progress. People believed in the promise of technology and innovation, confident that it would lead to a better future. However, this blind faith in progress often came at a cost, as the events that would soon unfold would tragically demonstrate. January 15th, 1919, lunchtime. The city pulsed with activity. Suddenly, a deafening roar. The ground shook, buildings trembled, a wave of panic surged through the streets. The giant molasses tank, the one that had stood for years as a symbol of progress, had erupted. A torrent of molasses, thick and relentless, surged outwards, engulfing everything in its path. The wave, a towering wall of molasses, moved with terrifying speed. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles. People screamed, caught off guard by the sticky deluge. Horses and carriages were swept away, their struggles futile against the relentless tide. The air, thick with the cloying scent of molasses, was filled with the sounds of destruction and despair. Section 5. Trapped in the sticky sea. The molasses, initially warm from the rupture, began to cool rapidly in the winter air, spreading like a dark, sticky wave through the streets of Boston. As the temperature dropped, the molasses turned thicker and more viscous by the minute, transforming from a flowing liquid into a treacherous trap. Those caught in its grip found themselves trapped, their movements slowed to a crawl as they fought against the relentless stickiness. Their limbs heavy and immobile, they struggled in vain, each attempt to free themselves only sinking them deeper into the molasses. Frantic cries for help were muffled by the thick, sticky goo, the sound of desperation swallowed by the molasses. The weight of the molasses crushed those who couldn't escape its grasp, pressing down with an unyielding force. It was a slow and agonizing demise, as the molasses claimed its victims one by one, their struggles growing weaker until they ceased altogether. Rescuers fought valiantly to save those trapped, but the molasses made every step a battle, every movement a Herculean effort. The aftermath was a scene of utter devastation, with buildings damaged, streets coated in a thick layer of molasses, and the haunting memory of those lost in the disaster. In the years that followed, the tragedy of the molasses flood remained etched in the collective memory of the city, a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the unexpected dangers that can arise from the most unlikely sources. Newspapers chronicled the event, capturing the horror and the heroism, the loss and the resilience of a community forever changed by the sticky sea. Today, the streets of Boston have long since been cleaned, but the story of the Great Molasses Flood lives on, a testament to the strength and spirit of those who endured one of the most unusual disasters in history. Section 6. The Aftermath, a city scarred. The wave subsided, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. Buildings were reduced to rubble, their foundations shattered. Streets were rivers of molasses, littered with debris and the bodies of the dead. The air, heavy with the smell of molasses and the stench of death, hung thick with sorrow. Rescuers waded through the waist-deep muck, their faces grim as they searched for survivors. Section 7. Whispers in the Rubble. Stories of the disaster spread like wildfire. Tales of heroism emerged, of neighbours saving neighbours, of rescuers risking their lives to pull survivors from the sticky mire. But there were also whispers of blame, of negligence, of corners cut in the name of profit. The city mourned its dead, over 20 souls lost to the relentless tide of molasses. Section 8. The Price of Progress. The Great Molasses Flood, as it came to be known, sent shockwaves throughout the nation. It served as a stark reminder that progress, for all its allure, could come at a devastating cost. The disaster exposed the dangers of unchecked industrialization and the need for accountability. The disaster forced people to question the very nature of progress and its potential consequences. Section 9. A Legacy Etched in Molasses. The Great Molasses Flood left an indelible mark on Boston. It prompted stricter building codes, improved safety regulations, and a heightened awareness of the potential dangers lurking within our cities. The disaster served as a grim reminder that even in the pursuit of progress, safety and human life must always come first. Section 10. The unseen dangers. Even today, the legacy of the Great Molasses Flood lingers. It serves as a reminder that amidst the marvels of our modern world, unseen dangers may lurk. It compels us to question, to demand accountability, and to never forget the lessons etched in the sticky residue of a catastrophe that once engulfed a city in sweetness and sorrow.